Good morning. So, just a reminder that today is day 5 of the Joy program. That means you should be writing down your 50th thing that you're thankful to God for. And today I have a challenge for you in addition to that. If you have written any people on your thankful to God list, if you've written any people in your 50 things you're thankful for, I want you to contact them specifically today and tell them that you are thankful to God for them. I think we underestimate the importance of reaching out. We like when people do it to us, and occasionally we remember to do it to other people. But I think that we grossly underestimate how important that is. I don't care if you've written down 50 people, contact them all. If you mean it, it doesn't matter how many people you're telling. I guarantee you that they need to hear it. But especially the people in your home. If you've been writing down your 2-year-old, 5-year-old child, or your spouse, or someone you see at work, whoever you might see in person, if you've been writing down that person, you need to go to them specifically and tell them that you thank God for them. And sometimes that can be an out of fish experience, a fish out of water experience, because we're not used to saying those things out loud sometimes. It's almost easier to say I love you than to say I'm thankful for you. So I really challenge you to go tell someone today, because I guarantee you they need to hear it, and it will benefit both you and them for you to have said it. So the little testimony I want to share today is all about forgiveness. So yesterday I talked about how I went through something difficult and I was left in this pit and broken into a million pieces, and God started putting me back together. Well, part of that process of being put back together was a deep conviction of things I needed to apologize for. And we often don't allow ourselves to be humbled enough. We don't want to go through the humility required to ask someone for forgiveness, because we have to lay down ego and pride in order to be able to do that. We have to be willing to see that we did something wrong to be able to do that. But it's a cathartic experience when God convicts you and you allow that conviction in your life. You respond to it with action. Then He does pretty amazing things. And there were emails I had to write and text messages I had to send and people I had to look up on Facebook. I don't even know if they've ever seen the message or not. But I had to say sorry for what I had done. And some of them were really, really big things. And other ones were really small ones. For instance, I had a friend one time. We lived on a military base and we were going to do Thanksgiving together. And we got into some stupid argument about, I think, who was going to carve the turkey or something like that. Something really, really ridiculous. And we have never talked since then. And how stupid is that? So I managed to somehow find, because I never delete anything, I found where we had talked one time on Messenger. And I don't know if she'll ever get that. But the point is that when God brought it to my attention that I needed to apologize still for that, I did it. And maybe one day she will see it when she knows. And that's what we're supposed to do. We're called to ask for forgiveness. And sometimes that means turning to the people we wake up with every morning and saying, I'm sorry for whatever it was that I did. Sometimes it means bringing up stuff from the past. Sometimes it means you'll make some people upset, or you might even lose some friends. But it's important to let people know that you realize what you've done wrong and that you're sorry for it, truly sorry. So there are 3 parts to forgiveness. One is understanding God's forgiveness. You know, the Bible says in Psalm 103:12, Psalm 103:12 says, as far as the east is from the west, so far has He removed our transgression or sin from us. You can't get any farther away than the east is from the west. They never come back around and connect. The The east is one direction, the west is another direction, and he puts them as far away as they are from each other, and he doesn't ever remember what you have done, and that's where we fail. He not only forgives us, he forgets. He casts it so far away from us, we couldn't even go back and find it if we wanted to. We can commit the same sin over again, but we can't go back and get the one that we committed in the past, that we gave to him and that he forgave. So we have to understand that kind of forgiveness and then be willing to give it. The other thing we have to do is we have to be willing to heed God's conviction on our hearts to ask forgiveness of other people, and we need to go and ask it. And the third part is accepting forgiveness. We have to accept forgiveness from God, we have to accept forgiveness from other people, and we have to accept forgiveness from ourselves. Because we have a problem, whereas God will remove our sin as far as the east is from the west, we have a problem saying that we forgive someone and never ever forgetting. And the problem with ourselves is that we want to forget what we've done, even though we're not forgiving ourselves. And with other people, we want to say we forgive them, and we never ever want to forget what they did. So that at any moment we can bring back up again what they've done to us, and remind them how horrible they were. Well, that's not forgiveness. If you're not willing to let go of what they've done to you, whether they've ever asked forgiveness or not, then you misunderstand forgiveness. And only God can give us that kind of forgiveness. It's not something you can conjure up on your own. It's impossible to forget along with forgiveness unless you have God helping you. And of course, because our minds are the way they are, we never really truly forget necessarily, but God fades that memory over time. And as long as we don't keep putting attention and focus on what someone did to us that was wrong, we're able to let it go, and it doesn't affect our lives or our relationship with them. So part of what Jesus said about forgiving others is found in Matthew. Matthew 18:21 and 22 says, "Then came Peter to him and said, Lord, how often shall my brother sin against me, and I forgive him? Till 7 times? Jesus said unto him, I say not unto you until 7 times, but until 70 times 7. Now that's an actual math problem, and you can do that problem and come up with an actual number that even seems manageable, but I can tell you this, if you're keeping track of how many times you've had to forgive someone, then you're doing it wrong, and you're not really forgiving them. When Jesus comes to us, when we go to God and we say, I'm sorry for this, he doesn't sit there and say, okay, they're up to 345, and by the time they hit 490, that's going to be it. God doesn't say that. And we need to not be saying that either. If he says that he removes our sin from us as far as the east is from the west, when we give it to him, then we need to be willing to do that same thing to someone else. They come to us, maybe even they don't come to us, but we know we need to forgive them. We forgive them for whatever wrong they did to us. We give that to God, and he removes it from us as well. And we're able to walk away from that and not hold it against that person, because it's not God's character to hold on to the wrongs that have been done to us. If he felt that way, then his son wouldn't have been able to die for us, because we weren't worth it. He sees us as worth it, and I'm so thankful, and I hope that we start seeing each other that way. But we weren't worthy of his sacrifice on our behalf, and we're not worthy of his forgiveness, but he gives it so freely and so completely, and we need to start giving that to other people. As I was saying, when I went through my own, I call it a Gethsemane experience, it's definitely a conversion experience. When I went through the hard time I went through that brought me to God, and he convicted me of the ways that I needed to apologize, I did it, and it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy to write those emails, and it wasn't easy to be that honest, and it wasn't easy to ask forgiveness of people that will never come and apologize to me or even realize things that they've done. None of that was easy, but it was absolutely necessary for my growing experience. If we don't let go of not only what people have done to us, but what we've done to other people that we've given to God and apologized for, that's our responsibility, then we can't come into a fully close relationship with Christ, because that's always going to be between him and us. Not that he puts it there, but it's a barrier that we allow to be there. And we need to get rid of all the barriers that exist between us and God, and get it absolutely as close as possible. And one of them is just absolutely forgiveness, both the giving and accepting of it. God looks at you and sees his son, because his son paid the ultimate price for your salvation, and he loves you, and he's a shepherd, and he's searching for you, and he will never leave you or forsake you, and he sees you as worthy and beautiful and worth it. We've got to start seeing ourselves that way, and we've got to start seeing other people that way. There is absolutely no one else out there who has done so much that God can't forgive them or reach them. And he wants to reach them through you. He wants you today to go to someone that you have been withholding a sorry from, and he wants you to tell them that you're sorry. Or he wants you to go to them and say, I forgive you, even if they never said sorry. It's a necessary step in our progression toward becoming more like him in character. And, he's altogether lovely. And we have the opportunity to be that way as well. And I just pray today that as you're reaching out to people and telling them how thankful you are for them, that if God convicts you, you include a few apologies along with that. Because it might be something as simple as your first grade teacher, you stole an eraser or something. It might be something really small, but if he brings it to your mind, you need to do something about it. And sometimes it's a long process. It takes a long time to remember all the things we've done wrong, and he's not bringing it to our mind because he wants to punish us. He wants us to lay that burden at his feet and be done with it. And he wants to remove it from us, and he can't remove it if we keep on holding on to it so tightly. So let go of those things. Let go of the things that people have done to you that were wrong. There are many of them, and some of them will never apologize for them, and that's okay. God can deal with that. But you don't need to be the one who doesn't apologize. You can go and say sorry, and even if they don't accept it, even if they never see it, you've done your part, and God can remove it from you, and he will. And I can guarantee you it'll bring a peace into your life that you haven't experienced yet. It's pretty amazing. So again, don't forget to write down your next 10 things that gets you up to 50. And come back tomorrow and we'll talk about something else. But tell someone today that you are thankful for them. It'll be the best thing you do all day. Have a very blessed day.